Hey love, so I wanted to stop by today and give you guys a tea on some really important transits that'll be happening in the month of November, all right, from here until the end of the month. So get your notepad, get whatever you want to get ready so that you can take some notes. If you have certain placements that are within, the elements of the major transits that I'm about to tell you about, you do want to take special note of that because it is going to affect you a little bit more, and it's going to affect you more intensely and more personally, okay, than maybe some of the other transits throughout the month. These are transits that, if you have, we have a lot of transits happening in Scorpio and Sagittarius, all right, some in Taurus as well, and Pisces. So if you have personal placements here, if you're big 3 or big 4, Venus, Sun, your rising sign or your moon. Some people also add your Mars sign as well. So if you have a personal planet, all right, in any of these signs, it's really important to take notice of that and to be aware, because it is going to affect you in the area where your placement lies in your natal chart. So if you don't already know your natal chart, look it up. All you need is your birth date and your time if you want to get really detailed about it. Also, if you'd like a natal chart report, you can always contact me for that. I do provide personalized reports for clients, okay? So let's get into it. So the first transit that is going to impact you guys the most intensely, I would say, is going to be a transit coming up in the next couple of days on November 13th. And that is going to be South Node in Scorpio conjunct Sun in Scorpio, okay? Now, the reason why this transit is so important is because this transit has to do with bringing up karmic patterns. Okay, anytime that you have the sun conjuncting or the sun aspecting another planet, another asteroid, another aspect or placement in your chart, it's going to illuminate it. It's going to bring it to the surface. The sun is known as our representing our conscious mind, so those things that we're super aware of, okay, those things that other people notice about us or that we notice about ourselves right away. Okay, so for instance, Venus conjunct Sun people, when they have that in their natal chart, the Venusian aspects of that person is something that people notice right away. They recognize themselves as being very charming or very beautiful, okay? So the sun illuminates whatever transit, whatever planet, asteroid it aspects. And when you have South Node conjunct the sun here, you're going to be paying a lot of attention to your karmic patterns, to old habits from the past, from patterns or things that may have originated in your childhood, all right? So a lot of you are going to be working through childhood wounds, karmic patterns, old, habits that you might be wanting to kick to the curb or that you might be wanting to get rid of, all right? So any generational patterns that you're trying to get rid of, generational curses, if you have karmic lovers from your past or karmic issues from your past, they may resurface during this time, okay, in this second week of November, from November 13th until this transit passes. And what this transit is really going to do for you is it's going to help you to understand what you need to do in order to let go of these old habits, what you need to do in order to let go of or close this cycle for good, okay? And you may really want to take some time not to rush through this transit. So for instance, if you've been trying to lose weight and you've been having issues with stopping yourself from overeating, instead of getting frustrated with yourself, instead of distracting yourself with something else, instead of moving on to another topic, this element which this aspect resides in the sign of Scorpio, challenges us to sit with our feelings, to be grounded and to sit with how we're feeling emotionally, to be grounded in our emotions. Because remember, this energy of Scorpio can often be dark, it can often be brooding, and oftentimes it's also what helps us to come to self-realizations that end up being the reason that we learn to transmute these energies. It ends up being our motivation to transform, okay? And so remember that when we're dealing with the element, the sign and energy of Scorpio, all struggles that we go through, no matter how intense they may be, no matter how they might seem to bind us, they ultimately give us that tenacity, that inner strength to push through and to transmute our desires, to transmute that straw hay into gold. Okay, that process of alchemy that makes us turn our L's into lessons and then later on into wins. Okay, when you have a lot of planets in the sign of Scorpio, these are the types of people, when they have a major Scorpio placement or when they have a Scorpio stellium, these are the individuals that transmute their struggles into their greatest triumphs, okay? These are the people that got teased for being ugly ducklings that later on become supermodels. The people who had abusive parents that then become the model for how you parent, that write the books on parenting and become that stellar mother or that stellar father that everyone wants to be like. They transmute, if they use their struggles in its highest vibrational form, they transform their struggles and they transform it into triumphs, okay? They become the champion, the master of that energy, okay? So when we're dealing with Sun conjunct South Node, this is an excellent time to look at the struggles that you've had in life, to look at the problems that you're facing, especially those that you suspect might be from a past life, that you've been struggling with for years, or that run in your family, and to really look at it deeply, okay? If you're struggling with something, this may be a time that you get a revelation about why you're struggling with that issue. You may come to realize that the reason why you overeat is because you're anxious. And then you no longer deal with just the overeating because you realize that that's just a symptom for the anxiety that you're facing and the self-soothing that you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so then you deal with the root emotional issue. Also, some of you may find that some of the generational struggles that you're dealing with may have to do with a core emotional need that has never been met, okay? Maybe it's neglect, maybe it's that you need to raise your self-confidence, maybe it's self-love. It could be different things, of course, for different people, because we all struggle with different things. And so because of this, with this South Node conjunct Sun and Scorpio transit, you're going to be digging deep into your emotional core. You're going to be realizing things about yourself and having those moments where you go, now I realize why I always do that. Now I realize my inner motivation. Now I understand me on a deeper level, and so I can now accomplish things that I never thought I could. Once you understand why you're struggling with something, it opens that door where you can then move on, where you can figure out how to overcome that challenge, and it no longer becomes an impossible hurdle. It simply becomes another bump on the road to success, okay? So use this transit that's happening now with the South Node conjunct Sun and Scorpio to take some time to sit with yourself. Don't avoid those uncomfortable feelings. Instead, look deeply into them, explore them, because that discomfort is going to motivate you if you look deeply, if you're able to introspect and really look deeply at the things that have troubled you, at the things that you struggled with, especially those things that have happened to you again and again, those repeating circumstances, those repeating difficulties in your life. And if you're able to really sit with it and understand it and, process those feelings that you feel when you're going through that struggle, you could come to an aha moment that's going to ultimately help you to triumph over that exact difficulty, okay? So that is what the Sun conjunct South Node in Scorpio can do for you if you use the energy correctly, okay? So later on into the month, on November 20th, we are going to have a transit that is Venus conjunct Mercury in Sagittarius, okay? So as we come out of the energy of Scorpio, that's very intense, very emotional, very steamy and really root you down into the core of those uncomfortable emotions that you might not want to face. We come up for air as different planets start to transition into the more bubbly, light, brighter energy of that Jupiterian ruled sign of Sagittarius. This is a more hopeful energy. This is the energy of higher learning, of philosophy, where we come up into a more intellectual energy, okay, that allows us to go into our mind, into our higher self, much like Aquarius. Sagittarius has a lot to do with the higher self here. And we start to learn lessons. We start to think about why we deal with certain things, okay? And with this Venus conjunct Mercury, we are encouraged to express our feelings regarding our struggles, okay? As both signs are going to, on November 20th specifically, be in the 4th degree, okay? So this still has to do with our emotions because the 4th degree rules the sign of Cancer, okay? So as we come up out of that intense, emotional, watery energy of Scorpio, we kind of float up into that energy of Cancer, okay, of the crab in its emotional shell. And so we're still dealing with emotional issues here, with this being in the 4th degree ruling, which Cancer rules, okay? Cancer is the 4th sign. But we're dealing with it in a way where we can express this energy. We can now release this emotional turmoil that we've been holding within, okay? So feel free to find a way to express those things you've been struggling with, to find ways to express your emotions, okay? Whether they be happy or sad or in between, whatever that is for you. It's going to help you to grow. So with Venus conjunct Mercury here in the sign of Sagittarius, you can feel free to express what you've learned. Find people that you can, find common ground with. Express those emotions that you've been struggling with through art, through expression. With Venus here, if you're an artist, this is an awesome time to express those things that you've been holding inside during Scorpio season. Find people who you have a, common ground with and express that with them. Find a way to connect, okay? Or you can, kind of use this time to connect with friends, a little bit of escapism to help you to, relieve some of that tension of having struggled with those deep, dark feelings during the month of Scorpio, November, Scorpio season. And as you come up for air, as you engage in recreational activities, whatever those might be, it will allow your subconscious some relief to be able to also resolve these issues. Sometimes it's not until we stop thinking about something, we give ourselves a little bit of a break after trying to problem solve, after trying to dig deep within our emotions, that those solutions come to us, all right? During this time, Taurus is also going to be in the north, or the north node rather is going to be in Taurus here. So as you have Venus conjunct Mercury in Sagittarius, and the north node in Taurus, south node in Scorpio, because the north node is always going to be in the opposite sign of the south node, okay? So as you have these energies here, it's going to allow you to have a broader perspective of your struggles, okay? A broader perspective of those things that you've been trying to overcome. And, with this, you're going to be able to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, especially with Jupiter in Pisces, all right? So with Jupiter in Pisces, this gives us an energy of expansion while we are in or shifting into Sagittarius season, November 20th, all right? And we are going to also have that hope, that faith, that Piscean energy always brings, okay? So Piscean energy is the energy of faith. It is the energy of feeling the unseen, okay? This is a very spiritual sign, much like Sagittarius here. And so with these energies here, we do get to kind of come up for air, even though we do have a lot of water energy here with Cancer present in the degrees of Venus and of Mercury, with, the sun still in Scorpio, emerging out of Scorpio a little bit later in the month, and with Jupiter in the watery sign of Pisces. Okay, this is the sign of endings. This could very well be the ending of a cycle for a lot of you. This could also be a time when you realize how you can overcome childhood traumas. Okay, how you can overcome those root issues, those karmic issues that you've been dealing with, that you may have been struggling with, and that in times past seemed as if there was no way out from. Okay, you're going to begin to see the light towards the end of November in Sagittarius, or nearing Sagittarius season here. So I'm very excited about this for you guys, because for some of you that may have felt trapped, that may have felt as if you couldn't find the solution to your issues, you're going to be able to problem solve. You're going to be able to see the blueprint to the way out, okay, with Sagittarius season coming up. Also, with the North Node in Taurus here, all right, since Scorpio does represent karmic issues, childhood issues, sometimes generational problems, issues that have been passed down through different generations in your family. With the North Node in Taurus, okay, Taurus also represents the home. Okay, just as Cancer represents the home, except for a lot of the times Cancer represents the home in childhood. Okay, it represents that mother energy, our mother, or the energy that we grew up with, the energy that was surrounding us during our development in childhood. Okay, now Scorpio, on the other hand, represents those karmic things we might be coming out from. So as the North Node is in Taurus here, this can easily represent the area where we're going. Okay, with the North Node here, it does represent the things to come, our future, the area where we're destined to go, okay, out of that South Node energy. So if you're thinking about building a home with someone, if you're thinking about moving somewhere, if you're thinking about buying a new house, or if you are thinking about, how you want your home life to be, this is an excellent time to decide what you want to be different about your life, okay, versus how you grew up. Maybe you grew up with a lot of chaos around you, a lot of violence, a lot of, hectic energy. You may decide in this energy of the North Node in Taurus, as you're beginning to see the light, as you're beginning to understand and comprehend those lessons that trauma came to teach you, that you rather live in a different way. Okay, so you're not just going to be thinking about and lost in the trauma and what you don't want. You're also going to begin with this Piscean energy with Jupiter in Pisces. You're going to be able to plan for the future regarding what you hope to have, what you have faith that you can have and grow into in the future. Maybe you grew up in a family that overate. Okay, so you want to plan in your household of your own as you establish yourself out in the world, as you create your own household. You might want to have a family that eats balanced, healthy meals, that exercises together, okay, that bonds, not over eating things that harm you, but over things that actually perpetuate health. Okay, maybe you grew up in a hectic atmosphere that was full of violence and crime. Well, maybe you want to make sure that the new home that where you move to, or the new home that you establish with whoever you love, is in a safe place, okay, where that is not tolerated, that's not accepted. Whatever the case may be for your particular experience, your own life experience here. So that being said, this North Node energy is going to help you with Jupiter and Pisces as well, sextiling, okay, the North Node in Taurus. You're going to be able to have a bit of a vision of what you want for your future based on being able to come out of this trauma of your past. Now you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now you know what you want your future to be like based on what you do not want from your past, okay? Maybe you have relationships where you were always with somebody who had an addiction, somebody that was toxic, somebody that was controlling. Well, in your future, you want to be able to live in a space that's filled with peace. You only want to invite peaceful people in, okay? Because the North Node in Taurus is not just about your physical house, but also how you want to live. the way that you want to live, okay? What comfort means for you, what luxury means for you, what peace means for you. Because Tauruses like to live in an atmosphere of harmony, okay? So this isn't just about, physical luxury, even though that is very important to Taurus too. But what they also care a great deal about is feelings. How do you want your future to feel? How do you want to feel in your space? This could have to do with a physical home or what makes you feel at home, what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel at ease, okay? So you will be planning a new vision for yourself with the North Node in Taurus as we come into this visionary energy of Sagittarius as well, all right? So the last transit that's going to be important for you guys nearing the end of November, I believe this happens around November 23rd, is going to be Mars opposite Venus. Okay, so Venus is going to be again in the sign of Sagittarius with Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so with this energy here, this is a very interesting transit because Mars and Venus may seem very opposite, but they're also very much alike, all right? Mars is the energy of passion. Mars represents the things that we're attracted to. It's also the energy of aggression and of war, which separates it from Venus because Venus is a very peaceful sign, but it can also represent the things that we love and that we're attracted to in a way, the things that we feel in harmony with. So a lot of people, they think of Venus as only being love, okay, romantic love, but it's also about the things, it represents the things that you love, the things that you love to do, the things that you have a love for, the things that you are in harmony with, that bring you inner peace and harmony, okay? So when you look at your Venus sign in your natal chart, this is just a side note, it doesn't just represent the people that you're attracted to, okay? Because Mars can represent attraction too. Mars represents sexual attraction, while Venus represents oftentimes long-term romantic and emotional attraction. But Venus also has to do with those things that you love to do, those things that bring love and harmony to your life, the things that you see as beautiful, okay? And that can also represent inner beauty, not just physical beauty, the things that make you feel beautiful, the things that you love to do, okay? Or that make you feel amazing when you do them, okay? So if you have your Venus in Gemini, you might like exploring different sides of your identity. You might like, having intellectual conversations and connecting with people on a mental level. You might love to debate people as well. Those things can bring you a sense of inner harmony, believe it or not, okay? So with Mars opposite Venus here, you may feel a little bit torn, and here's why. So with Mars representing passion and sometimes a short term, and Venus representing love and those things that bring us inner harmony, those things that can represent the longevity of, practicing a career that we love versus something that just brings us, that rush of satisfaction for the moment. Pursuing someone that we love versus just someone that we have sexual tension with, okay, which Mars might represent. So with Mars in Gemini and Venus in Sagittarius, you might feel a little bit torn between chasing after those things that you're attracted to for the moment, which Mars could represent for you, okay? And chasing those things rather that Venus represents, okay? So this could be a person. Maybe you're torn between a short-term fling and a long-term love interest, okay? Maybe you're torn between that job that pays well, which Mars could represent something of the short term. It could be short term for you, all right? Or that long-term thing that you really love to do, okay? So you could be torn between taking a job that's going to pay well versus a job that's really going to contribute to your career in the long term. You could be torn with Gemini in that intellectual sign and the adventurous sign of Gemini, and then Sagittarius with Venus here in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius often represents higher learning, higher education. You could be torn between pursuing something that is going to be very engaging for you, representing Mars, okay, that's going to represent your interest, it's going to keep you drawn in, versus something that's going to educate you and give you wisdom, which Sagittarius represents in the long term, okay? Sagittarius is more of an in-depth energy. This is an energy of philosophy. This is where we learn about why, okay? Why we do the things we do, or why people do certain things in life. And this is the energy of the sage. This is why Sagittarius is often seen as a philosopher or the sage. Now, you can't be a sage without having years of experience, okay? That is where wisdom is built, where Sagittarius, takes time to learn and learn in depth. Gemini is very quick-witted. It's a very youthful energy, okay? And they like to get things done and then move on to the next, okay? So you might be torn between something that's short-term and quick, something that gives you that short-term satisfaction, that quick satisfaction, that like not outside validation, but like instant gratification, okay? Or something that is going to benefit you more and be of greater value longer, later on, but it's going to take a little bit longer to accomplish. So you're really going to have to decide what you want to do and what you want to invest your energy in. Okay, now you also might be tempted, and this goes more towards the Mars in Gemini transit, but you might be tempted to get into situations, again, especially with Sagittarius energy here also. Listen, I would really try not to argue with people with these two signs, like in major placements. This is a time where you could say things that you regret. This is a time where your words can be very cutting, because both Sagittarius and Gemini know how to snip and snap with their words, okay? They're not to be played with. So this may not be a time when you want to get in arguments with people that you love, okay? This is a time when you would be better off finding your commonalities than, focusing on your differences with people, especially in relationships that you want to keep going. Now, if you want to cut something off, this is a perfect time to do it, because both Gemini and Sagittarius can be very short and to the point. Okay, so if you want to feed off of that energy, you're more than welcome to end those, those relationships, shut those doors that need to be shut, and this energy is going to help you to do exactly that. All right. So also with this Mars opposite Venus energy here, you could very much benefit from using both of these signs. This energy creates a lot of tension. You can use it for those things that you're passionate about, those things that you want to maintain, that you want to set a little bit of like a, fan of flame under, that you want to grow. Okay, so if you want to work on a passion project, if you need to communicate with people, if you need to be outgoing, especially if that's not your natural energy, this is a perfect time to do that, because the outgoing, adventurous energy of Gemini and of Sagittarius is going to help to push you in that direction. And that tension, at times it may feel as though it's holding you back, but if you kind of just feed off of that energy of, feeling the need to express yourself, of wanting to reach out to other people, it's actually going to help to push you in the right direction, okay? Because oftentimes those other people kind of see as malefic aspects, those aspects that have that tension, that seem to, it's not a sextile, it's not a trine, it's not a conjunct, it's an aspect with a little bit more of that tension to it. Those oppositions, those squares, they can seem to be malefic at first. It can seem to push you away from your goals. But if you know what you're doing, you can use that tension to push you forward and actually make more progress than you would with an easy aspect like a conjunct, like a sextile, or like a trine, okay? Because when you push, it's going to push you even further into the direction that you want to go. And that's the secret of how to use those aspects to your benefit, okay? So if you want a natal chart reading, make sure that you reach out to me. I'm going to have my contact information below. Also, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting lots of other videos like these so that you can know how to use these transits for your benefit, because what good is a transit if you don't know how to use it, right? Also, make sure if you're looking at this on social media to like this, share it with somebody that you know. And also make sure you're following my page so you can be the first to know when I upload new videos and content. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your November. I'll see you soon. Bye.